Okay, good morning class. Ang topic naman natin ngayon ay cable. So, ito ay different dun sa ating previous topics na arch tsaka yung cable na may using summation moments. This time, yung shape nung cable natin ay parabola. Unlike before, mga segmented siya, no? Mga straight segments. Dito, parabola, which is basically a catenary. So a cable supporting a load which is uniform along the horizontal will take the shape of a parabola, while a cable supporting only its uniform weight, such an electric transmission line, will form a catenary. And then, skip natin tong cables with concentrated loads. Ililimit lang natin ang ating lecture sa a cable with uniform load, which is ito, no? 4.5. In figure 4.3, assume that the cable AB supports a load uniformly distributed along the horizon. Cables of suspension bridges are assumed loaded in this way, since the weight of the cables is small compared with the weight of the roadway. Formulas applicable to this cable and this type of loading are summarized below. So, ito yung ating transmission line. Then we have distance D from point O, okay, up to the supports. And then mapapansin nyo na itong capital L, yan yung horizontal length. Ano? It is not the length of the cable. And then we have here the equation of parabola, equation 4.1. Y is equal to 4dx square all over L square. Note na yung L dyan, yan yung horizontal length. And then Y is at any point P on the parabola. No? Yan. Ang coordinates ng point P, you have vertical distance y and horizontal distance x. And then we have horizontal tension at point O dito sa baba. H is equal to WL square all over 8D. Yung W dyan, yan yung uniform load. And then we have tension at any point P. TP is equal to the square root of the sum of H squared plus the quantity Wx squared. Then, tension at each support. Ayan. We have this. And then, we have the length of cable. We have S is equal to L times the quantity 1 plus 8 all over 3m squared minus 32 all over 5m to the 4 plus 256 all over 7 times m raised to the 6. Take note na cm, ratio m is d all over L. Okay, so that is this distance all over the horizontal length L. Mapapansin nyo na, let's say this is 1, no? And then this is L. Obviously, mahaba itong L. So the ratio m is obviously a fraction, ano? Ngayon, kapag assume natin 1/2, i-square mo yung 1/2, magiging 1 over 4. Eh, paano kung yung 1/2 i-raise mo siya to the 4th, ano? So, lalong lumiliit yung kanyang value. So, ang sensible na kukunin mo dito, yung first two equations lang, yung 1 tsaka yung 8 over 3m squared. The rest, i-disregard mo na yan kasi very, very minimal na lang ang ibibigay niyan. Decimal, 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 something. And then, etong S na yan, this is the arc length, ano? Or the length of the cable, and then L is the horizontal length L. So obviously, yung length of cable is longer than the horizontal length. Okay? Then meron ding equation ng length of cable which is exact. Ayan. No? Next, we now go to cables with uniform load along its length. So ito yung figure. When the load on a cable is its own weight, assumed uniform over the entire length, it forms a curve called the catenary, Latin word for chain. The following formulas are derived. So equation of a catenary boils down to C times cosine H x over C. This is hyperbolic trigonometric function. That is equation 4.7. And then the length of CP. Yung CP, that is the arc length from the bottom of the catenary to the point P, which is defined by X and Y. Mapapansin nyo na yung Y, yan yung distance dito sa, I think this is called directrix. Yan. This is still a parabola. Okay? And then, horizontal distance C to P, that is yung X is equal to C times ln, natural logarithm function yan, times ln of the quantity S plus Y all over C. So, isa-isayin natin yan. Okay? So, yung C, that is the distance from the horizontal axis to this point on the parabola, which is the lowest part of the parabola. And then you have X is the horizontal distance of a certain point. Okay? Next is Y. Yan naman yung vertical distance or vertical coordinate ng point P along this horizontal axis. And then relation among Y, S, and C. Okay? So we have Y, the arc length S, and the distance C. Y squared is equal to S squared plus C squared. And then we have the load on CP. Okay, yung load on CP na yan, this is the load applied at the arc length S, which is defined by the arc distance from point C to point P. Okay, so that is W times the arc length S. And then we have the horizontal tension at point C. H is equal to W times C. Okay? Next, tension at any point P is equal to W times the quantity S squared plus C squared, which is equal to W times Y. Now let us take a sample. So at example 4.14, a uniform cable 600 meters long, weighing 16 Newton per linear meter is suspended at points on the same level. If the maximum tension in the cable is 8,000 Newton, determine the equation of the curve in which the cable hangs, the sag, the tension at the lowest point, and the horizontal distance between points. Solution. The load in this case is uniform along the cable, equal to the weight per unit length. Thus, the cable forms a catenary. Okay, the given values are 2S is equal to 600 meter. So, we will compare these numbers to these equations. Ang uniform cable 600 meters long, this is the arc length, okay, from point A to point ito. So that is the arc length from point A to point C to point B, okay? yan yung 600 meters na length. Weighing 16 newtons per linear meter, yan naman yung W. Okay? Ayan, W, 60 newton per meter. And then, is suspended at points on same level. Maximum tension in the cable is 8,000 newton. So, obviously, this occurs, yung 8,000 newton na yan, occurs at point C. And that equation is horizontal tension at C, which is capital H. So you can say that capital H is 8,000 newtons. Okay? Likewise, tension at any point P. Sabihin natin yung P mo nandito sa gitna, no? Somewhere here sa gitna. We can equate that to capital T also. And that is equal to W times Y. Next, determine the equation of the curve which the cable hangs, the sag. Yung sag naman, that is the distance from this AB hanggang dito sa C. Let's say that is letter D. Okay, yan yung sag. And then, horizontal distance between points. Yan yung capital L from A to B. Then, the tension at the lowest point. Or that is yung ating H, capital H. Okay? Now, what is this 2S, 600 meters? Yan ngayon yung length, the entire length of the cable, meaning yung S, that is the distance from C to support B, taking half of the cable as your S, okay? So, half plus half will give you 2S. Kaya ayan. So, 2S is equal to 600, and remember that 600 is the length of the cable. No? Remember that is not the horizontal length. So, from this, S or half of the cable length is 300 meters. Next, notice na yung equation na T at any point is equal to W times Y. So, meron na tayong T, which is 800. Meron na tayong Y, which is 16. So, we can easily solve for Y, which is 500 meters. Okay? Now, what is that distance Y? Okay, so it is this distance from from the horizontal axis up to point B. Yan yung Y, okay? Hanggang sa support. And then, i-minus na lang natin yung value ng C. Masosolve na natin yung sag. Okay? Next. So, Y square is equal to C square plus S square. Since alam na natin yung Y, okay? So, meron na tayong Y, and then alam na rin natin yung S, which is 300. We can easily solve for C. Okay? So, C is equal to 400 meters. The equation of the cable is that for a catenary. So, going back to the equations, the equation for a catenary is C times hyperbolic cosine of x all over C. Ito. Okay? So, you simply substitute 400 for C, and then x is simply any point at P. Okay? And then you have C again here. So this is the equation of our cable. Next, so sa sag naman, as I've said before, you just simply subtract the value of C from your Y, which gives us 100 meters. Okay, and then H, that is the horizontal tension at point C, is equal to W times C, which is 6,400 Newton. And then, yung X naman, that is equal to this equation, C times ln of the quantity S plus Y all over C. So you simply substitute. You have 277.26. And then you have the span equal to 2x. Ngayon, yung x na yan, that is the horizontal distance. Okay, which ito yung x, ano? Horizontal distance, taking point P at the support. Okay, so simply said, yung horizontal length L is simply equal to the span, which is twice of x. Okay, so again, the span is from point A to point B. So your span now is equal to 554.52 meters. And notice na yung length ng cable is 600. Obviously, mas mahaba yung length ng cable. And the span is 554. Next, let's proceed to problem 4.15. If a 42-meter length of wire was used to span a horizontal distance of 40 meters, determine the approximate sag of the wire. So let us identify the given. Yung 42 meter, yan yung arc length, okay? Or that is equal to 2S, okay? Ayan o. 2 times S will give you 42. Next, yung horizontal distance naman, or as compared to our previous problem 4.14, yan yung span, no? From point A to B. Or yan yung length, span length L. And then using equation 4.5, which is this one, ito. As I've said before, disregard na natin yung m to the 4, m to the 6, since this is very, very minimal, no? So, yung first two equations, or first two equations lang ito, 1 plus 8 over 3m square ang i-consider natin. And then, remember na yung S, yan yung arc length, okay? And then, L, that is the span length, which is written here, okay? So using the first two members on the right side of the equation, we obtain 42 is equal to 40 plus d square all over 15. And then you can easily solve for the value of d, which is the sag. Ngayon, paano natin nakuha yung 42 is equal to 40 plus d square all over 15? Okay. So, ito yung ating equation. Ko-consider lang natin yung first two members, which is 1 and itong 8 over 3 times the quantity d all over L squared. Yung ating L ay 40 meters. This is the span length. Okay? Tapos, yung S is equal to 21 meters. Pero, hindi natin gagamitin yung 21 meters since kalahati lang yan noong ating catenary. So, ang gagamitin nating S is the entire 42 meters. Okay? So, we will substitute 42 dito sa equation S. Okay? Which happens to be this. And then, yung 8 over 3, paano nakuha itong over 15? Okay? So, ang gagawin mo riyan, 8 divided by 3, okay? Divided by 40 squared, no? Multiply mo yan ng 40 will give you 1 over 15. Okay? Again, susundan nyo ako, ano? So, that is the fraction 8/3 divided by 40 squared multiplied by 40. It will give you 0.067. And if you will convert that to fraction, magiging 1 over 15. Okay? So, ulitin ko. Paano nakuha yung 1 over 15 na yan? Balik tayo dito, ano? So, that is the fraction 8/3 divided by 40 squared. Toot! Mahabang break. Okay, so let's repeat. 8/3 divided by 40 squared will give you 1.67 times 10 to the negative 3, no? And then you multiply that by 40 will give you 0.067. If you convert that to fraction, that is 1 over 15, which is this. Next, saan nanggaling yung 40 na yan? That is the quantity L times 1, no? So, that is 40 times 1 will give you this. And then yung S, take note, is the entire length, which is 42. So, from this equation, your D is 5.48 meters. Okay, so yan yung sub. For problem 4.16, kukunin mo naman ngayon dito yung sag, but using the exact equations, ano? So, from 5.48, using exact equation, merong 5.57 ang nakuha niya. So, masosolve mo ngayon yung error. Okay? So, that ends our catenary problem. Thank you, guys.